Hello and welcome back to one of my videos where I use a revolutionary piece of technology to ask stupid questions. In this video I continue where I left off last video. In the end of last video I started to look into ways to select a tile for placing a unit on there and moving it, of course, etc, etc. So let's go. I might be missing a little piece of recording here, but here I ask CahtGPT or just how to write a method to retrieve the tile type. If you want to retrieve the tile type for each subclass without explicitly settling the tile type variable, you can create a method within the tile class that returns the tile type. You can then override this method in each subclass as needed. And here on tile type, I'm talking about either culture or corridor tile, the circle or the other shape. A while back I had some confusion about tile type and terrain type. Still need to rename that kind of tile type into terrain type to avoid confusion. So apparently ChatGPT suggested this enumeration, which at the moment of this video I didn't know yet. Either I talk about it later in this video or I ask more about it later. But as far as I understand it now, the enumeration is a pretty straightforward way to create different types of something. Yeah, and then it gives me methods to retrieve the tile type. So, but this implies that I need to give the corridor and the culture tile each an enumeration type. And like I said, I didn't know that at the time, so I didn't know the method at the time, the enumeration method. So I don't think I go with that. I'm not sure, but yeah, afterwards, right now, I think that's a pretty elegant way of doing it. So I put the get tile type method in tile, and I had some other method to return a tile. That's also get tile type. Oh, and still written. That's a long time ago. Tile is still written with a Y here. I don't remember what I was doing with that then. Get tile type. Return this tile type. Oh, yeah. Tile type was a field of tile. Oh yeah, right. This is exactly. This is the terrain type that I was using that to get the terrain type when I was trying to change how it generated the random terrain type. So that's the confusion right there. This is a bit weird though. Maybe it isn't weird and I'm weird, but oh, my mouse is on it. Here, ChatGPT suggests that I have this method, this tile type method that an abstract method, but then it has return tile type with like it is a class point culture tile. So that's weird. I just have to or if enumeration works like that, but as far as I know, I just have to give culture tile a field, initialize a tile type field, but tile type doesn't need to be a class. I think that's pretty weird. Or I might be saying stupid things now. No, this can just be an enum, as far as I know, and then return only culture tile enumeration. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm maybe it's doing complicated things here because I only have two tile types, this kind of tile type. Yeah, that seems weird now. But yeah, like I said, with all this voiceover, doing all these voiceovers, I reviewed all the things that I did to understand it again while doing this, right now. And I have had some interactions with ChatGPT since, and I thought I had some. I learned a few things and understand a few things. I understand them better. And like I said, what I'm saying about the enumerations can be BS right now, but this seems way over complicated. For me, this implies I might be wrong, but this implies I need to create a tile type class. That's useless. maybe even the way I did it might just work. Return a field of tile like I did before. Not sure. So here I try. I created a field of tile called tile. Seems like I'm going to try something else. Oh, here I just created get tile method that returns this tile. Non tile is I think in the constructor that's just written as tile point this point tile this tile. Why don't I do that? Weird. So I decided to post the tile class to ChatGPT. Still haven't got my history back, so probably recorded this about the same time as the last video. I want to get I want the getDown method to return the current instance of tile. Is this code enough or do I need more? I should have made tile with a capital T, but anyway. Tile method in the tile class correctly implemented to return the current instance of tile object. This keyword refers to the current instance of the class. And in this case, it will turn the tile object for which the getTile method is called. So the existing page 72. However, since the method is in the tile class itself, it's not necessary to have a separate method to return the current instance. You can simply use this directly in the calling code wherever needed. If you still want to keep this method, you can do this. For clarify, blah blah. Yeah, but still, that's pretty vague what I did. Even if it only was naming, like tile. I have in these classes from the tiles, I have all this cascading superclasses and subclasses until the terrain types. You have terrain types. On top of that, you have above that you have corridor and culture. Above that you have tile, and then you have the board elements, board shapes, etc. So the culture and the corridor is part of that whole tile object that is created in the end. But yeah, just return a tile is at best pretty vague. So now I'm looking in my mouse related functionality because this get tile method has to work when I click on it or even when I mouse over it, so that I have like a little window that shows what kind of tile I'm mousing over. But especially to select a tile, the place first unit code that I wrote in the last video. Yeah, I have select a unit, etc. But now I need to be able to place it somewhere, of course. And then it needs to select that tile and create a unit list on that tile, etc. Okay, I think I posted the user interface class. Oh, I only posted a piece of code. Because I said I want to write a method a bit like the code I posted. A bit missing space. With which I can select a specific tile on click and or mouse over. Okay. Do you have any suggestions or do you need more of my code? Based on the provided code snippet, I can provide a general suggestion for implementing the tile selection using mouse click and or mouse hover. Assuming you are using Java GUI library like Swing or JavaX, you can use mouse listener and event handlers to achieve this. Yes, I am. I'm not sure if I use Java Swing. Yeah, that's stuff I do. Custom gpanel. A public class tile panel, which extends a gpanel. Private tile panel. Now this is something I need to get into with these panels. I imagine seeing the name that it also implies having, like, it's a graphic user interface library that you can have, like, that you can use them like windows with layouts and stuff and functionality. But a general panel, I already have a general panel that collects the mouse events, etc. Not sure where it is. You can have all kinds of different frames and panels. Add the tile panel instance to the main G frame or G panel, Java frame or Java panel. Yeah, that's interesting. That's to know the difference between a frame and a panel, etc. Where it's typically used for. That would be interesting. But I probably what's it called? I will need to look into that when the user interface stuff comes up more. Mouse clicks, over events, the tail shape method can be used, yes, to draw the shape. Yeah, I'll have all that stuff. But actually there wasn't much new, except tile, this tile is tile. And then, oh yeah, tile clicked, tile get tile name. Yeah, then again, tile get tile name is, that's the terrain type for now. Yeah, I need to stop thinking about like it's separate tiles. Those are all those terrain types and all the culture and corridor tile are tiles, and they just have different attributes. Like they are either culture or corridor, and then there are a certain terrain type. And I need to be able to retrieve the type and the terrain and the coordinates, etc. But those are the basic distinctions, and in my head I see them as something separate all the time. That's not very helpful. And here it proposes me to retrieve the tile name, but I also need the tile name, which is the terrain type. So like I said, I have to change that to avoid confusion, and then I also need to retrieve the type. That's very important, of course, whether it's a corridor or a culture. Those have different functionalities. So here I am comparing some stuff that I have with the mouse events and some suggestions that it gave. So I post my entire interface class. Could you give a suggestion on how to merge your code with this code? So certainly, you can integrate the tile selection functionality into your existing user interface class. The main idea is to create an add tile panel instance. To create and add tile panel instances from my previous example to your draw canvas method and handle mouse events on those panels. That's pretty weird. Here's how you can modify your existing code. Create a Oh yeah, no, that might. I don't think I did it this way, but in the end, I probably asked different stuff. But that might be interesting. Then you can define different behavior for the tile panel. I think that's the basic idea, so that you can tile panel. Yeah. That's a pretty, for what I'm doing, what I'm trying to do now. I think is that isn't really adapted, but basically it allows different behavior when I'm in the tile panel. Modify the draw canvas class to create an add tile panel instance. To create and add tile panel instances for each tile on the board. Yes. That's when, I guess, every time my mouse is within that tile panel then. So I'm not, that's not what I'm looking for. I don't need code to draw the tiles. I just need something to select a specific tile with the mouse. In that case, you can use a different approach to handle mouse units directly within the draw canvas class. You can iterate through the tiles on the board and check if the mouse click or hover point is within the shape. That's what I'm looking for, yes. First, you need to make sure that the board class has a method to access the list of tiles, yes. Yeah, that's what I want for now. But then again, I'm rewatching this. I learned something because when I was doing this, I'm so focused on what I wanted. Its previous answer, I was like, no, that's not what I'm looking for. But it's a piece of theory that I don't master. So, like with the different panels, which is a thing I probably want to use later, I guess. So the board class needs a method to access the list of tiles. Get tile. Modify the draw canvas as follows. Methods in the draw canvas class to handle tile selection and hover. Yeah, and some method that's called find tile at point, click point, click point. Yes, I have something like that because I have a little piece of code that puts out the coordinates on top of the canvas, on top of the Java. What is it called? Yeah, that's like I said, it's a panel or frame on top of the screen. Assistant print, yeah, I need that stuff. The first video I'm gonna make after I did the voiceover for all my footage is to add some of those debugging things like this print stuff to the console and some other things that I noticed while doing all this and that I learned. I will update some things in my code that the further I go with these voiceovers, the more it starts to annoy me that certain things that I now know, or at least I think I can do better. I'm gonna change that. Some little things, some maintenance, and like I said, like the naming of tile types, terrain type, etc. I'm gonna go over that stuff and do some cleaning up. Oh, it bugged out. Can you please continue from public void mouse over, etc. Mouse moved it was. Plug, plug, plug. Draw canvas. Override. Mouse clicked. It redoes the other method as well. Anyway, sometimes it works to continue, but sometimes doesn't. Tile hovered, get tile name, get tile type. And I need a coordinate. Yes, I might want to create a method that when mouse over gives me the type, the name, and the coordinates. That would be a good check if everything works. Setting some private fields to public in the board. Yeah, that made the click in my head that all the tiles on the board are actually tiles, so I can use a method like getTile and then make it return all the attributes of the tile, like I said, like culture corridor, the type, or the terrain, and even the zones and the coordinates. No, don't set it to private again, it's useless. Yeah, because those fields here are used for generating, tile of field of tile. That's the most. I don't need for this to retrieve all those things. I don't need. Oh, it's almost out of the screen. So I'm going to create a getTile method. I don't seem to be sure where to create the tile method. Yeah, I think I made my code, my classes way too complex and way too much. What is it called? Just initializing fields left and right that I have in other classes as well. Sometimes, of course, that's a thing to do, but creating a mess. Yeah, I think CahtGPT said that would be a good place to create this getTile method in board, which it is because that's where I initialize, where I put the whole board together. So where I initialize all the instances. I do some in the grid hexagon where I initialize the zones, which might, the way I look at it now, might be stupid. The zones are also in the whole hierarchy of board element classes, so trying to think what would be best. Now the zones I probably want to, yeah, I have to look into that. Totally not sure right now but what I know now, what would be a right place to put the zones. Write that down as well. So I'm back in my tile class where I have this getTile method. Moving it to grid hexagon. Yeah, I'm definitely doubting whether to put that getTile method in the grid class, in the board class, or in the tile class. Yeah, logically it would be looking into the initialized grids to see what's there, but if that method is inside the tile class, that works as well because it will return the. Oh yeah, that's what I'm thinking now. But as far as I know now, if it's in the tile class and you say this tile, it will return the instance of that specific tile. I have, like I said, tile classes with all kinds of different types and terrains, etc. But if that method is in the tile class, it can return that. Implicitly, it can turn when it has been initialized. I can use that. I don't have to go and look in the board array to find it. Well, yeah, that's what I said. I need to define that method in the tag class, and then in the board class, like, yeah, what I'm doing here is not that stupid. So I can then access it in, yeah, like this, yeah. Yeah, well, now I have a doubt. I'm not sure if this is needed at all. Changing it to void for some reason. uh, um, I'm just experimenting at this point. That's for sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm making this way too complicated. Like I said, I can just create that method in the tile class and everything. And then exit it. Damn it, I have trouble pronouncing the word access. Access it. And I can just access that method whenever. I don't have to do this whole board array thing here, I think. Seems pretty over the top. I think maybe I'll prove myself wrong later on. I seem to have decided to bother my digital body with the whole board class to see if it can help me. With the getTile method in the following code. Oh yeah, like maybe it was needed because it's talking about the board. What am I doing wrong? It seems you haven't provided the code. Okay. I love it. The getDown method has a few issues. The method declare is void. Yeah, didn't, like I said, don't know why I did that. I returned something when it's a void. Tile, yes. And the WH. Also, when you put them in like that, they are passed as parameters. That's language I need to remember. So yeah, tile has to be a field of the tiles. Now did I define tile? Else return null, yeah, that is always handy. Well, I define the field of tile. Oh, I'm out of behind my picture again. Oh, I changed it to tile point get tile method, but I was doing a get tile method in a grid hexagon. Oh yeah, that can be done because it takes cultural corridor tile. Yeah, I do construct some stuff here. Okay, I also do the zones here. I forgot. So yeah, in fact I do that construction here. Oh, but then I do the random train types in the board class. That's kind of weird. Either I do it all in board or either do it all in grid hexagon. But get tile should work here, but I don't have it in the constructor. I have it tile. I should have this tile is tile in some constructor, I guess. Oh, I finally have the bright idea to put both windows next to each other. And until now, I was clicking back and forth. Yeah, the ChatGPT window doesn't need that much space, and and my Eclipse window doesn't need huge amounts of space either. So that I don't have to go back and forth all the time. This is very convenient. Sometimes I really do wonder how I survived to this old age. I don't have a huge screen for nothing. Or huge. A reasonably big screen. Like what was it? 32 inches. So for me at least, it's easy to have them both one besides the other and have everything readable. So the mouse click event, I have some code to get the coordinates, the x and y coordinates, and then I do have click point, get click point. I think this is not sure where I click point public point is no. Yeah, I have a field called point somewhere. So I copy the method ChatGPT suggested. The mouse moved. I take out something there that was commented out anyway. Mouse moved. Okay, I have another. Oh, let's find out at point. Return tile, yeah, style and shape. Yeah, that's a thing that should work because every tile has a shape. Every board element has a shape even. Then I can use that to do these kinds of things like contains point. I already used that for the highlight function. Those are actually really easy to use methods, libraries. This is something where my brain bugs a little, but private tile, find dynamite point. No, actually, it's pretty simple. That's just a method that finds a tile at that point. Yeah, sometimes I'm making things way more complicated in my head than they are in reality. And when I start understanding it, or when I see a solution, I'm like, oh, it's that easy. Lots of the ways of doing things are way more easy than I imagine them to be. Oh, this is that method. Just copy it. Board point get yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's just. Now I have the get tile method in the board class, and that one needs the WH arguments, and then so I have them here again. Yeah, I can just pass them on. I was like, is there another method, or maybe I don't need to get tile in board at all? Maybe I can just, like I said, leave it in tile. Not sure to find those kinds of things out still. But then again, like I said, I want to, it would be great if I return the coordinates also with the tile type, the tile terrain, etc. That, yeah, of course, that should be, I should have all that info. So yeah, no, I do need the WH right away. But now, yeah, the best way to, in the user interface class, to have access to those fields isn't really clear for me. Then maybe I can just call them in this method or in this whole class. But then instead, like I do a lot of the times, instead of redefining them, I might want to call them with the class name and then point field name, so that I don't use a null value, or that whatever, that I use an initialized value that is initialized by another class. So probably in this case, I do that in board when I create the board. When I create the board arrays, that's where I assign them up when I send the tiles a place in the array. Now that you have my board code as well, can you review the code you gave me for find tile at point, for the find tile at point method? Sure, it's always sure and certainly. Sure, here's the find tile at point method revised to fit the structure of your board class. Why is it quit hexagon? Now I'm confused. Oh no, that's where I initialize the array in board, and it does the loop thingy. Yes, hexagon, get shape. If hexagon shape contains point, return hexagon. So that returns the hexagon. You need to make sure that the hexagon class has a get shape method. Probably has, because that's at the level of board elements. You can use the find tile at point method in your board class like this. Mouse point, etc. Find tile at point. This will give you, scroll down please. Yeah, this returns the hexagon. So that's all fun and games, but I want to, oh my god, I made such a mess of it all. I'm sure at some point I will find a way to do this way more elegant, because this is so messy. Like with something like this, I really, what is it called? I really get confronted with the structure that I have implemented, with the created tile types, the terrain. I need it all, but the way I implement it seems far from ideal when I get confronted with it like this. Oh, and to give you an instance of the specific mouse credit, if you want to access the tile objects, you can use the culture tile code properties. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh no, that's actually because I pass culture and corridor tiles arguments to the grid hexagon. I can easily access them the way ChatGPT sees, at least. For me to really do that is another thing. Now I probably might only want to access either the corridor or the culture tile, minus either. Oh, it needs to think. Okay, then I need two separate methods. Yeah, I think I understand it wrong, because now it makes two methods to access the corridor or the culture, but only one of them, and it goes through the hexagon. So, and in the hexagon, on the hexagon, there's one instance of corridor and one instance of culture, so they have the same coordinates. So this is weird. I should probably use this first method and then access the tile type with that. That can be done in one method. Either this is either, or yeah, I think it's, yeah, no, this is yeah. I want just to return it either, depending. I think here it gave a method to either, that either returns corridor tiles or culture tiles, and I just want a method that returns one of the two, depending on which one I mouse over, of course. I think we're understanding. I'm not sure if I understand it when I'm doing this. So I'm asking, in this response you gave me, in which class would the find tile at point method be located. Apologies for the confusion, of course. The board class, since it's responsible for managing the grid of hexagons. Okay, so yeah, what I was wondering before, it should be the logical place where I create the grid array, apparently. So okay, once it's in the board class, then make sure that the grid hexagon class has a getShape method that returns the shape. Not sure if I have implemented that method in the grid hexagon class. I probably am confused now that the find tile at point is of the grid hexagon type and not of the tile type like I did here. Of the type tile, I must say. Do not confuse it with tile type. So I replace the method that returns a tile to the method that CahtGPT suggested that returns the grid hexagon. Oh, still that error. I really have to look at that. Did I write that down? So I changed some thingies there. Hexagon I changed to grid hexagon. I forgot one here. If hexagon not is null. Oh yeah, and that the getShape is shape. I have a method in board elements that's just called shape, and I tell it to return a shape. I don't really have a setShape method. I just use shapes that are defined in the board element class. You can then use the find tile at point method in your board class like that. Mouse point, new point, selected hexagon. Gives me all kinds of code that yeah, I need to implement other stuff for, like here mouse X and mouse Y. It's something similar that I use somewhere, but it's probably not called like that, and I don't have it here. But I use it in the, I have those mouse coordinates somewhere. Oh, I do find the omission here, also called grid hexagon. Yeah, the mouse X and mouse Y. Probably want to access those from where I already used them in the mouse events code, I guess. Reduced my little camera bit because it was in the way all the time. Okay, so I changed those names from hexagon to grid hexagon as well. Oh yeah, like I said, I don't think I need those two separate methods. And I copied its code snippet with the mouse X and mouse Y. I asked where would I use this code. You can use it in the event handling method of your application. May you detect mouse clicks or interactions? Yeah, not in this board thing. Yeah, so that's in the user interface class. Find tile at point. Yeah, instead of that. But I think, like I said, I think it's overcomplicating stuff, like the way I do it now. I can just, well, before, when I think I get this to work, I'm not sure. Before getting this, throwing out this code, I can just add the code that works through a simple tile object. See if that works. Find tile at point, click point. This gets pretty complicated for my head. It's talking about board instance. But yeah, it's just using examples, logical examples that don't correspond with my actual naming and stuff, because I have to provide that. Oh, here I have that board instance is just board. Yeah. Mouse point, that's just point, I think. Yeah, that's just point. Oh, it's red because I cannot make a static reference to a non-static field. Why am I making a Static reference. Oh, because I used that board point. Oh, that's, yeah. Something starting to make sense in my head. If I reference it like this, with the board, with the class and then point bloody, that's making a static reference. I've seen that way more often. Yeah, ChatGPT is using board instance. Oh yeah, so yeah, I have to create a field that takes, yeah, I have to access the instance of board here, because yeah, it's using a small caps. In the example in its code, I cannot point. I should not recording my mouse because I'm not recording OBS. It's problematic. But its example uses small caps board instance, and so I need to give it access to an instance of board here in the user interface. That's something that came up when I was working on the game loop, I think. If selected corridor tile not is null, and where I define, yeah, I don't instantiate the selected corridor tile. Oh yeah, of course, yeah, this is this. I define it here. Yeah, but it doesn't work like that, so I need to give it access to the instance of board. That's a thing I should learn more about, because it doesn't do. Can I just create a field, but not a new? Probably if I make a field that has an instance of board, can I do a reference to board? I'm not sure. Or maybe I should make a reference to where the instance or board is instantiated. Oh, those are things I'm not sure about it at all. So yeah, now I'm just breaking my brain, it seems, here. All the things I'm doing. If I just do board, this board, or this board is board, but how does the user interface class know where to find the instance of board? So yeah, that needs to come from somewhere, and it has to be the right instance. Cannot create a new instance of board. At least if that's how it works. Okay, so, oh yeah, and you can also instantiate things inside a method. Yeah, that's something I need to remember. Now I try to give it access to the find tile at point method as well in board, but that of course gives the same problem. And yeah, I admit, yeah, I don't know where I can, how I can access an instance of the board. There's just one instance of the board, of course, as far as I understand it, which I need to give access to. So now when I'm doing this, I'm really lost as well. Okay, now it's from tile to grid hexagon, yeah. Selected tile. Oh, I'm messing things up. I'm really just fiddling around again. Suffering. Cannot make a static reference, yeah. And I get the same thing, because yeah, I need an instance of board here. I need access to the instance of board. Now I have a try and catch around it. It won't make any difference, of course. Did I ask it? Did I ask ChatGPT about it, or I just copied it from somewhere else? So I'm just simplifying it to if not is null. That can always be useful, but the problem is the static reference. So I connect to copy that code for some reason. Oh, I replace. Oh yeah, the mouse over code. I replaced it from. I changed it from tile to the grid hexagon stuff. Yeah, and in fact, I was It does use the grid hexagon and then also the corridor and culture tile. Maybe that's okay. I don't think I need that. I need to clean that up later on, I guess. So here the game loop stuff is where I need to select a tile to place the unit on. Add units to tile. That's something I made in the culture tile apparently. Oh yeah, that's the unit list method. Creates the list. Oh, apparently I found a way to access an instance of board here. I don't seem to have the footage of that. I might have had it on pause or something. Oh, or I already had it because here in the I have the board point drawer also, so maybe I already had access to it and I was just being stupid. So now I'm asking, I need the place unit method in game loop to place the selected unit, to place the selected available unit on the selected tile. Can you give me an example, please? To place the selected available unit on the selected tile, you first need to have a reference to the selected unit and the selected tile. I'll assume you have a way to select an available unit and store it in a variable. For example, selected unit. You also need to modify your place unit method to accept the selected tile as a parameter. Modify the place unit method in game loop. So it adds parameter of selected tile, culture tile, because I already had something that referenced culture tile, that's why they're using it. Not null and selected tile. If unit not null, selected tile not null. Add units on tile. Unit is unit place true. Now in your mouse clicked method of the draw canvas class, call the place unit method with the selected available unit and the selected tile. If selected culture tile not is null. System out, okay. Game loop instance. Place unit, selected unit. Selected culture tile. Make sure to replace game loop instance and selected unit with appropriate variable names, yes. Don't scroll, I was reading. That's shit when doing the voiceover that I'm doing stuff. I was reading back there, but probably talking about something else. Okay, pause. Yeah, I need the right names. Yes, with these changes, the place unit method should place the selected available unit on the selected culture tile. Yeah, I need to call the place unit method from the specific tile that I do reference here in the code. That's called add unit to units on tile. So that adds it to creates a list when there's no units and adds it to the list when there already are units. It should be possible to put the unit in either the corridor or the culture tile. Can you update, please? Certainly, to allow placing the unit on either a corridor tile or a culture tile, you need to update the place unit method and the mouse clicked method accordingly. First, update the place unit method in game loop to accept the grid hexagon object instead of a culture tile object. Oh yeah, that does understand that it has to pass by the grid hexagon because that contains those things. Not sure if that is going the right way. I have a little suspicion that is going to put them on both with this code. Yeah, I'm confused with this grid hexagon because it contains both the tile types, and if I'm not passing through the shape specific to those, oh, it blocked again. Then update the I ask it to continue from if selected tile not is null, please. Okay, that's the whole mouse event again. The mouse clicked event, board instance, find tile at point. Yeah, that can work if the find. We can pass by the grid hexagon select tile if find tile at point takes a tile, because the grid hexagon isn't a tile. So in that way, yeah, I'm just confusing myself, and maybe ChatGPT is right, maybe it's wrong. So we have a reference to the gameloop instance as, can't read that, gameloop place unit. This is in the throw class. Yeah, you need, oh yeah, that when I have, that's in the interface, so I need to have access to the gameloop there. Place unit. Okay, so I update the place unit that it can take a selected tile of a grid hexagon. That's weird. Like I said before, it's tile or grid hexagon. Hexagon is not a tile. The grid is not a tile. I have to do that more elegantly. It's messing with my brain. But then again, I need to update quite a few things. I'm actually taking notes while doing all the voiceover, and I actually need quite some update. I need to update quite some things, and maybe even do a pretty extensive work over, what is it called, of most of my code, from the board elements, board shapes, etc., starting over there, because that's, yeah, doesn't matter. I'm starting to understand the design philosophies a bit better. Like I said in another video, I'm started out with a way of thinking that I slowly start to learn is not most optimal way. I do know there are different design philosophies which I don't know about. I should ask ChatGPT about different design philosophies. But I think that's mostly dependent on the way things seem logical to me as a creator. Yeah, of course, there's what is called best practice and stuff. I'm pretty sensitive to what's best practice, etc. But mostly, especially like I said, especially by doing all these voiceovers and reviewing it, I'm seeing that I use things in weird ways. Like with methods and stuff and how to call them. I start to see a bit how that works. Instead of making all these weird cascading things, that, yeah, I can make better use of methods and where to place them, and how to make instances of other classes and variables, etc., available. That kind of stuff. So I want to change that up a bit, clean it up a bit, and no doubt I will break a lot of things while doing that. So, yeah, I think after this video, I have one more piece of footage, or actually two, but it's on the same subject. Well, the second one is only 10 minutes long, I think. But I'm asking some general questions to ChatGPT, and then I think I go and do that fresh up and add a lot of console feedback for different methods, so that I have some feedback. And then I get on with this, because I'm doing the tile select stuff. I didn't finish the placing the unit entirely. I still had to make the unit, and yeah, I made the design, but I need to place it somewhere, give it coordinates, etc., so that it's drawn on the right place on the board. And because I don't have the console feedback, etc., I don't even know if all this code is working. I got it to work to a point where it doesn't give errors and where it runs, but because I didn't create the unit and the placement of the unit itself yet, I don't know don't even know if it actually works. So I will rewind a little bit because I'm not sure what I was doing. Okay. Oh yeah, because now the place unit has an argument of the selected tile. If I call it here in select unit for placement, yeah, I have to pass it a selected tile as well. Yeah, but I shouldn't. And this is weird. Here, it's just a unit selected. Oh yeah, I should just give it a, like, what is it? This is weird stuff. It selects a unit that has to be passed on to place unit. And why would it want then that's something I need to understand how you can do that without this kind of trouble. I'm trying to get this stuff to work in the game, in the user interface, sorry, in the mouse event. I did keep the print line this time. That's good. Hope I keep it. But then the selected unit. Oh yeah, assuming you have a reference, like I said, read before, the game loop instance and the selected unit. I don't have access to those here, so I need to give it access to those. And that's stuff that I slowly start to understand. Not, like I said, not sure, still not at all sure about how to best access those sometimes. Oh yeah, here I have an instance of board. But like I said before, how do I get access to the right instance of board? This is just, this game loop is game loop. Oh yeah, because user interface, that's something that CahtGPT told me before, that it has a specific game loop. It should also have a specific board. Yeah, oh, that's what I'm doing now. Yeah, no, this is not going to work. Because this, yeah, create parameter board. Yeah, but here it could work. The user interface has a specific one game loop, one board, which are both initialized in main at the moment, I saw just before. Yeah, I think that's logical, but I start to slowly understand that user interface works with a specific instance of board and of game loop. But I'm very hesitant to pass instances of things as parameters. Now, after all this reviewing, I slowly start to understand it a bit. But when I was doing this, I didn't understand anything about that yet. So I think in the case of user interface, that would be okay to do that. But then again, I need to wrap my head around it where I initialize. Like, user interface now has game loop, and then it's this game loop, blah, blah, blah. But how does it know which instance it's referring to? That's a question. If I don't tell it that it's the instance that's initialized in main as new board, new game loop, that structure I don't really get yet. The mouse clicked event, I'm trying to add the selected unit, select available unit, which it seems to accept without giving errors. Selected unit not is no. Select unit for placement. That's something that's just using the list of available units. Select available unit. Yeah, that's just using that list, the array list placeable units. This method in game loop now also needs the selected tile thingy. That's where it starts to bug out. Yeah, the grid hexagon object in its parameters. Yeah, that's weird. And that's because I think I should change that. It should just return the placeable unit instead of calling the method, because now I made a cascade of methods that one uses that one, etc. I think that's not good. Put it on pause, and now it takes a grid hexagon and it calls the place unit method with both the selected unit and selected tiles argument. Yeah, I think that's kind of BS. Select unit for placement. I can just return the selected unit, and I have another method that selects the tile, and then I can just return selected unit, and then here place unit. Where is it? Unit. I don't know why I'm making this so complicated. And even in the place unit, where does it get its? Yeah, honestly, this seems very complicated for nothing. And this is probably where a better understanding of all those principles would make my life a heck of a lot easier. That's just overly complicated. I said it before, but this is really good for my understanding and my deeper understanding of everything I was doing, everything ChatGPT is telling me. To review it like that, it's like the difference between when you see something, do something or whatever, that it's very easy from the outside to see what's going wrong, or somebody trying to solve something, etc. While you're in it, it's very hard to see. It's a lot of times easier to see from the outside with any kind of stuff in life. Actually, it's always far easier to have this objective view from the outside, and you can when you're doing it, you get this narrow tunnel vision. And when I'm reviewing all this and commenting on it, it's it's like being another person watching somebody do stuff, and my brain is actually, I think, more focused on the what is it, on the meta things, on the structure of things, instead of just being narrowly focused on finding the solution. Like when I'm working on it, I'm really, I just want it to work. I want to have the code that up. So, but no, that's really, it's really useful. So, like I said, I have a long list of stuff I want to change. When I finally allow myself to continue creating footage instead of doing all these voiceover videos. But yeah, that will be fun. It'll be fun to implement the stuff I learned and clean up the stuff. Game loop, select unit for placement. No, why the hell do I do that? Probably just to don't have a null pointer exception or something. Okay, so I'm asking. I'm bothering this revolutionary piece of technology with stupidity again, like it had nothing better to do. So this private void start game loop. Oh, now it's in my main class. Okay, select unit for placement. Now in my main class, do I need to pass the grid hexagon object to the select unit for placement method called in start game loop? And if so, how would I go about it? Select unit for placement. Oh, that's probably, yeah. No, I should think have an select unit for placement. Oh yeah, the action unit I put second. And then I need select unit, I need a place unit, I guess. I need to call a place unit method there. And if so, how would I go about it? Should wait for a mouse click to select a specific place on the board. Yes, you need to pass the grid action update to the select unit for placement method in your start game loop method. Yeah, no, I messed it up before. I should just create two separate methods. The place unit method. To cheat, if you can utilize a method that waits for a mouse click and returns the selected grid hexagon object. And again, I don't want a grid hexagon, I want one of the tiles. First, modify the gameloop class to a grid hexagon that will store the selected tile. Need a board instance. So with a board instance not selected, select the tile, set selected tile. Now did the start gameloop method, select unit for placement with the selected tile. Get selected tile. If it is null, select unit for placement, set selected tile. Okay, that's the, we're going to set it again. Yeah, I think it's all weird this. But it was the last hour of work I did on that, and so yeah, it's not weird that but I want to change it. Like I said, that but it's gonna be a select unit for placement, and then place unit, and else. Even the names, the action, the unit actions. Yeah, no, placeable units. Select unit. No, okay, yeah. Placeable was first, and actions I'm gonna separate in move, attack, etc. But those are sometimes either or. But yeah, select unit, that's one thing, and then place unit is the next thing. That's something that sounds way more logical. And I think I can avoid the thing that with that I can avoid the thing where I need the tile in the select unit stuff. That's just weird. It's not the way it's supposed to be. I have to move the stuff up a bit. My head is in the way. Oh, I have to move my head a bit because it's in the way. Let's put it here. So in game loop, I'm creating a set selected tile. This selected tile is selected tile. Just retype what CahtGPT suggested there, but that doesn't work, of course. Get selected tile, set selected tile. Oh, do I have a field of? Yes, oh yeah, I have it up here. I have it up there. No, it doesn't give any errors. Yeah, but again, the grid hexagon selected tile, that's just weird. I think I can, yeah, I will restructure that it just takes the tile and just returns the current tile with all its attributes and has nothing to do with the grid hexagon, except that I paste those as arguments over there. But even with this structure, as far as I understand, I don't need that grid hexagon stuff at all. Even there, I need maybe for the mouse. Yeah, the arrays are made up of those grid hexagons, so that might be the thing that I need to take in account. But I think even then, with the shape, etc., I can just access them. I will see that, but I will have to work around that. There's definitely a way to work around it, but I don't want to. So user interface. Now that is start game loop method to call selected unit for placement. I'm not sure what I'm doing. Putting my head back in this corner. Up. Okay, so in the start game loop method now in the main class, I'm trying to add the selected tile stuff, commenting all my position code that I had that was helping me place the little rectangles on the board that I had as a placeholder for units and buildings. That was just it seemed pretty over-engineered, but that was I just hacked together a bit to be able to place some placeholders. You have an error where it says the constructor building integer tile position is undefined. So I'm taking that out in the constructors at least, but I'm not taking it out as the arguments for the class apparently. So not quite sure what I'm doing there, but anyway, I'm just working through all the pieces and taking that out in the constructor, and also implementing some unimplemented methods. Oh, the shape wasn't implemented, for example. Just going over some errors, it seems. Oh, and then I have this weird error here, import tile point tile type for some reason. No idea why it's there. The type bank must implement the inherit abstract. Oh, I didn't implement the abstract methods. Oh, apparently I did decide to take the type position out that was in the arguments of the pieces. The typecast, I must implement an abstract method board and a shape. Oh, so I didn't implement all the thingies, and at the same time I'm taking out. So I think I go over all the pieces again and take out the tile position stuff in the as arguments and add the shape method. Yeah, some are missing the shape for some reason. Oh, now it's funny. It just says press enter to proceed to the next turn in the console, because I left in some of the print to screen stuff. But yeah, I like it when running the code is a blank canvas. So I'm checking I'm checking my system uses because of the blank canvas. I think I can't close the window anymore. Yeah, it's pretty funny. I end the task here at the task manager. I was pressing enter to proceed to the next turn doesn't work. Yeah, I know already what I did wrong, but I'll find out in a bit. Here I'm looking at the press enter to proceed to the next turn. I'm like, what? Because yeah, it totally blocks. I cannot close the window anymore when I run the code. So. Doing it again. Plug. Yep, I cannot close it. I never had this before, so I forced it to shut down again. I'm so miserable. Ooh. So then I get a bright idea to ask it as GPT. Now, when I run my code, the only result is that it prints press enter to proceed to the next turn. There are no error messages. I think I need debug mode now. Oh, debug mode. Do you have an idea how to do that in Eclipse? I don't need debug mode, but anyway. But it's a good thing. I never used that stuff before. This, by the way, this is amazing that it knows. Yeah, I read it somewhere on the internet, I guess, but it's amazing how much info it has been trained on. As far as I understand, I don't have an experience with it, but it can also tell nonsense. Yeah, I've experienced nonsense, but not when asking it about a certain website or a certain program. But it's amazing that it knows how to use certain software. It's like it's trained on so much stuff. It's really it's unbelievable. So this is my first foray into the debugger. So it explains me about breakpoints. I already forgot about it. That's pretty interesting. Oh, yeah. So I was talking about printing stuff, but that's you can see the values of variables and fields in the current scope. That's pretty interesting. That's funny. It gives me advice. Critical points. So the mouse click method. Start game loop method. Yeah, funny. It was something with just clicking on the number or something, double clicking maybe. Yeah, so far I really just used a really rudimentary functionality of Eclipse of the IDE. I don't remember. Maybe it was double click on the. Oh, I finally found how to put the breakpoints in. Okay, then I switch to really to debug mode. So yeah, this is the first time I see all this stuff. So now I decide to throw the whole debugger, what is it called? I can't find the word. Output. I decide to put the whole output in GPT, and with the question, "Do you understand any of this?" I like it. Ask the most. I can ask the most stupid questions, and it gives me all kinds of serious answers. The advantage, but so I can. Damn, mosquito. Summer again. So yeah, I can use GPT to translate all that stuff because I don't understand any of it. So I'm adding some breakpoints here. And adding some breakpoints in gameloop. Set selected tile. Setting some breakpoints in user interface. No idea what I'm doing. I'm just trying to put them in crucial points like ChatGPT suggested. Kind of staring at the output here. It doesn't mean anything to me at all. Do a bit of resume. Not even sure if I go from breakpoint to breakpoint now or what exactly am I happening. And then it seems that I finally found out I'm missing a little piece of footage here. And I have my history back. That's great. But the problem was that here it says your current game loop runs indefinitely because there's no exit condition. To fix this, you can add a Boolean flag like is running to control the game loop. I already added it here because this was set to true. Is running was set to true, so it just kept on running indefinitely. And it tells me to add a system exit command. I don't know what it's called. Windows close. Oh yeah, Windows close. Then it's exit. And it tells me to add a window listener, which I think I have. I'm not sure. And that I need to add the appropriate libraries. And here I decided to feed something back to it and to expand on it further. The current implementation of a game loop does not use the mouse click event for selecting tiles or placing units. You need to use the mouse click method in the draw canvas class to call the select unit for placement method and pass the selected tile to it. To do this, you can modify the mouse click method in draw canvas like this. Make sure to pass the game loop instance to the draw canvas class constructor. Oh, so I'm missing stuff as well. Game loop does not utilize the mouse click event. Okay. I'm definitely missing some stuff. Sometimes I'm so lost. I have no idea what I'm doing. I've got so much left to learn. Oh my god. So I copied the whole mouse click event. Can you tell me where exactly in this code, inside draw canvas, I need to place this code? And I copied the select unit for placement method from gameloop. Sure, you can place the code right after checking that both select unit and select tile are not null. Here's the updated mouse clicked method. So the other code, if selected tile not is null, if selected unit not is null. Okay, in this selected tile, corridor tile, it doesn't talk. Oh yeah, quit hexagon, select tile. That may still be because I put them as arguments in grid hexagon. Okay, copy one line in there. Okay, window event is running false. Oh, that window closing, that's a window event. You'll need to pass the isRunningFlag between the user interface and main classes, either by using a public getter and setter, or by passing a reference to the main class to the user interface class. Oh, a public getter and setter. That's also the way I should. Oh, that is also the way I should have. Oh, still that error. I should have access to specific instance of a specific instance, like I was asking before, like, and I don't consequently use getters and setters, especially the getter. And if that's public, I can have access to it, and I can then, I think, set it to protected so that I don't. No, that's no, that access modifier is called. I really should rework my code. And then I copy a piece, or by passing a reference to the main class to the interface class. How should I do this? To pass a reference to the main class to the user interface class, you can update user interface class constructor to accept an additional parameter of type main. Then modify the main class to pass this when constructing the user interface class. Yeah, isn't that kind of weird to give the user interface a main parameter? Update the main class to pass this when constructing the user interface. Oh, yeah, again, it seems kind of weird to me. And for this, can you give me an example, please? Lambda construction, that's a new term. Now you can call a window close when you need to perform the specified action when the window is closed. For example, it seems very complicated to me right now, all this. Or it's all pretty new. As far as I know, maybe because I already found a solution when doing this, I just need a window close event, that's all. For now, at least. Of course, I need more stuff later. So adding things some. Oh, okay. I put it main is running. Plop. It does something. It gave a whole load of errors. No pointer exception. So I do decide to add board to the arguments of user interface. This board. I think, like I said, it would be better to use a get method for this in the specific class. Oh, and it suddenly works. In the specific class, instead of giving it a parameter, it's kind of weird as. For me, it's not logical that, no, yeah, user interface might need instances of those, but I need to give the pass the right instances. So, but I do get it to work at least. I probably want to click somewhere now. It doesn't do a thing. What gives huge, of course, it gives a whole lot of errors. Yeah, every time I do something with error, it gives more errors. No pointer exception. Tile clicked, null. Alright, it does output to the console, that's cool. So my tile select stuff doesn't work. Yeah, tile click null. Oh, cool. Didn't even notice that, I think. Or I forgot. I set the draw outline of grid hexagon to null, but to false. Oh yeah, the corridor zones. Return false, draw outline. Ah, right, yeah, that was it. So this is what it's supposed to look like when without all the hexagon and zone outlines. I need to change those. I still don't. I need to look up the word in English. Squares that aren't square. um, I need to. Yeah, I was saving that for later, but it stays highlighted. That's weird. Maybe I clicked on it. But I need to make them highlight only the corridor, not the whole shape like there. The funny thing, it's behind the other ones. Probably trying to add a unit to the drawboard method. Oh yeah, the units on tile array list. Draw. Yeah, that doesn't work, of course. It needs to select. I need to select the units in the array instead of trying to draw the whole array. Tile. Where is it? Units on tile. Get units on tile. Return units on tile. Yeah, that might kind of work when there's one unit, but I need some. Oh no, that's in list. That's a list as well. I need a method to select to get all the units out of that list. Okay, so I asked GPT to. I need a method to return the first unit in this array. Yeah, I don't know. I need all the units in the array. Yeah, that selects one unit. You can create a method called get first unit on tile to return the first unit in the units on tile array list. If the list is empty, the method should return no. Oh yeah, get 0. I need to just, but I don't need. I need a method, not like I said, not only the first tile, first unit. I just need it to return all the units, and I just need everything in the array, all the units in the array. Just need to. I need to return them as units, and that is an array list. That's all. Yeah, I'm just trying for a result, so I'm just trying to be able to place the first unit. But I should have gone and just get the and not just I should have I should have tried for a general thing right away instead of only the first unit to avoid work later on. But like I said in the beginning of this video, I think it was, I need all kinds of stuff to position the unit, etc., etc. I'm just missing a whole lot of stuff there. At this point, I don't even know if it puts a unit in the array, etc. Like I don't have any console feedback. Okay, so I add the not is no thingy. Trying to run it again. Doesn't work, of course. No point exception. Oh, it's not the right. I'm wondering at this moment if I really do need that uh, grid array every time. I should just be able to access. I should be able to access those styles. Not sure. Wondering about that. So, got it to stop having a no pointer exception. Oh, because it was drawing. The drawer function might have had a no pointer exception because it was. I told it to draw units on tile, but when there are no, it's the draw function throws a no point exception. Trying to do something with highlighted tile. Why? Selected tile. Or maybe just trying to replace selected tile with highlight. Oh no, adding it. Why am I doing that? I'm changing it for highlighted tile. Mouse moved. Okay. I mean, oh yeah, of course, it's not mouse clicked. I didn't change that before. Even then, it's more logical to call it highlighted, probably. Not sure why I was doing that though. At least it doesn't give errors that I did that. Okay, I have a shape that is. I didn't have a shape for the enter even. Need small piece. But I also need to position that. I had that in some code to position the temporary things, but I have to position it relative to the shapes. By the way, I see all these booleans for is unit, this is that, is blah de blah. Maybe I should just make that with enumerations. I think that can be done, and then I can just give them an enumeration hunter, etc. Because I doubt there are many similarities between, yeah, well, buildings. Yeah, buildings there's a few, but units I think are so different that they could be. I could just enumerate them as a specific type. The building style, yeah, there's. I think I'm starting to realize that I need all these other things to be able to draw the unit and place it on the board, draw it on the board, render it. Not even sure at this point if the unit is at all placed in an area this when I click on the tile. And yeah, but I need to position it. Piece shape. I don't know what am I on about. I don't see a shape being drawn somewhere else, by the way. Not even in the upper left corner where normally stuff gets drawn when I don't render it in the right spot. But it doesn't give errors. But I probably was clicking. It doesn't give errors. It does keep a tile highlighted, which is pretty funny. Or it keeps the corridor zone highlighted. Probably has something to do with selecting a tile. Yeah, it did have something in the mouse event that mouse clicked, selected a tile that stayed highlighted. So that's probably why it stays highlighted. So, but that was it. Here it stops soonish. To finish this all off, I have to finish placing the first unit and seeing it on the board. I have to add those the positioning stuff and add my little drawing texture on it, and then then I need to attack the movement, the first movement. It will be a lot of work also. But like I said, probably the next video I will do some housekeeping on all my code, all the things that I noted down before continuing the place unit stuff to clean up the mess a bit, because it's getting in retrospect, in reviewing, it seems I'm doing quite some stuff that is making everything pretty messy. So yeah, I think I'll do a video on that in between. I have one more piece of footage where I ask general questions to ChatGPT, who make that as well, and then I go on cleaning code and going on placing the first unit. So that's it for this video. When you made it this far, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching me suffer. And yeah, see you next time. Bye bye.